Hello everybody, welcome to Yogaia. So my name is Robin, I'm covering for Lisa this morning. And we've got a special version of our Happy Hamstrings class tonight, focusing on runners. So it's not just for runners, it's for everyone just as normal, but with the London Marathon coming up, we're just kind of tweaking it a little bit more to work into some of the other muscles as well, which get tight when we're running and doing a lot of sport. Cool, so if you're at home, just making sure, if you've got a strap, just having it handy and any blocks. And we're going to get started on our backs today. So just have the strap close by and just stretch the legs out nice and long. And this is an all levels class, so just take each of the poses as you want to, so you can either stay with any of the variations or try the next one up. It's completely up to you, so just taking your time today. And before we get moving, we're just going to land on our mat. So just let the hands fall down to the belly, close the eyes down. We're just going to take a couple of nice long breaths into the chest, big inhale. And open the mouth to let it go. Awesome. 2 more of those, really filling up. And softening as you exhale. Last one, maybe even stretching the arms above the head this time, just to start to really wake up those muscles. Awesome. And we're going to stay on our backs, but just float the right leg up to the sky. And we're just going to let it go wherever it goes to today. So we're not going to be forcing this leg at all. So if you just bring the hands gently behind the back of the thigh, just to guide the leg down towards your face. But again, we're not pushing, so hands are very, very light here. Good. So Nicholas, even soften the grip even more. So just let those shoulders relax all the way down. That's it. Because we're going to be working into these muscles, but they're still warming up, so we don't want to force them too much to start with. Just close those eyes down. Finding those long breaths. Keeping the leg as straight as you can to see if there's any more softness there. So we have these little sensors in our muscles that after about 30 seconds start to gently release. So you should feel a little bit more space. Let's take one more big breath. Good, and then keeping that right leg up to the air, we're going to take it out to the right side. So just bring the left hand down onto the left hip just to help keep that hip nice and grounded. And you can keep the right elbow on the floor and just gently let that leg slide out to the side, however's comfortable for you, so it doesn't have to come all the way down to the ground. We're just looking to find a gentle stretch on the inner seam of that right leg. Just a gentle opening here, and keep that breath flowing. One more long breath. Good, and gently bringing that leg back to center. We're going to take it all the way to the other side. So if you're a little bit stiffer, this is where your strap might be handy. So if that's you, just looping it over the foot. And we're going to take that right leg all the way across the body now, and all the way over to the left side. And so the right hip might rock up a little bit, but try and keep it down as much as you can. And we're looking for this stretch on the outside of this right leg, so into the IT band. This might be different for some of you, so you can, if it's really tight, you can bend the leg here as well, just so you know. But play with the distance. If you're not feeling this stretch, try pulling the foot a little bit closer towards the face or moving it slightly further away. You should find that point where you get a nice opening here. One more breath. And gently bring that leg up to center and just bend the knee, give it a nice big squeeze. Good, I'm going to switch over to the other side. So starting with that left leg, and again you can use the strap for any of these if you want to. But then just gently raise that left leg to the sky and then really soft hands on the back of that left thigh. So again, we're not looking to force anything here, we're just looking to gently guide with the hands, guide with the breath. Sometimes early morning, if you're doing this one live with me, the muscles can be a little bit tighter, so just be a little bit patient here as well. Couple more breaths, see if you can find any more space, any more softness. If you are very open, you can start to slide the hands up the back of the thigh, but just make sure you're not forcing, so we're not using any force here on that leg. Last breath. Good, and we're finding that nice stretch into the inner seam of this left leg now. So elbow can come down to the ground, and then gently let that left leg come out to the left side. And just use the right hand just to guide that right hip down onto the floor. So we're trying not to let that lift. Good. Just relaxing the face, the shoulders. Taking the breath into those muscles. One more long breath. And back to center. Good, and we're coming all the way across now. So again, this one can be a little bit easier with that strap if you need it. And take the left leg all the way over to the right side. And we're trying not to let that left hip rise. Try to find that point where we feel a nice gentle stretch through that left side of the hip. Just keeping those shoulders on the floor. Good, 2 more breaths. Good, and then big bend into that knee, give it a nice big squeeze. Awesome. And then gently rocking and rolling all the way up and down the spine. And we're going to find our way into a nice downward facing dog. So Carolyn, for you with your wrist, if this is too much on your wrist, you can just come down onto all fours for now, but give it a go. See how you are. Just take it at your own pace. So hips rise up to the sky if you're in your downward facing dog. And wherever you are, just shake the hips side to side. So we're trying to find a little bit more space through the sides of your body. Good, and then looking up to the hands, gently walk the feet to come to the back of the hands. We're going to come into a nice big ragdoll. So feet hip width apart. Nice big bend in the knees if you need it. So you want the belly touching those thighs. And then just grab hold of opposite elbows, shake the neck, shake the head. And lift those seat bones up and back to the sky. So even if you've got a bend in your knees, you can still send those seat bones back. So we're removing this rounding in the lower back. Good, gently releasing the neck. One more big breath here. Releasing the hands. Good, and we're going to come into a nice low lunge. So just stepping the right foot in between those hands. Bring the left leg all the way back and long down your mat. A nice big bend into that front knee. Good, and we want the knee over the front foot. Cool, so if this is quite strong for you, you can drop the back knee down. But what we're going to do here, we're just focusing on getting heavy through the hips. So we're shining the chest forwards and letting the front of that left hip sink down to the ground. So it's just going to open up into that hip flexor. Awesome, guys. Good, and if you've got that back foot raised, just watch that you're not twisting through the hips. So you want to lift the bottom back, but then sink the front. So we're keeping the hips nice and square to the front of the mat. One more. Big breath in. As you exhale, slowly start to straighten that front right leg and come nice and high up onto the back tip toes. Good, so hips are coming up to the sky and send your bottom back behind you again. So this is quite a strong stretch for that front hamstring. So if you need to, just bring a bend into the front knee. Awesome, and try and relax the head, relax the shoulders. Maybe even shaking them side to side. Good, one more breath in. As you exhale, nice big bend into that front knee again. And then turn the back heel down and find your way into your warrior two. So opening the arms nice and wide. Awesome, sinking nice and deeply into that front leg. We're going to come into a side angle pose. So first option here is just to drop that right elbow down onto the knee, and left arm's going to come up overhead. Good, an option to stay here. So Carolyn, try and roll your arms so it's over the head and palms facing down to the sky. Good. So we're looking at trying to roll that chest, that left side of the chest up to the ceiling. If you're quite open and that's quite easy for you, either grabbing a block or just taking your hand down to the floor on the inside of that right leg, then find that stretch again here, drawing the arm overhead. Good, and wherever you are, get heavy through the hips, and you should feel a nice opening through this back leg, so get nice and strong and straight in the back leg. Good, as you exhale, we're going to lower that top arm down and draw a big circle as we breathe in, shining that chest up to the sky. We're going to do 2 more of these. Good, so as you exhale, arm lowers. Inhale, arm comes up and overhead. Good, last one. Inhale to shine. Good, hold here, 1 more breath. And big breath in to come back to your warrior 2. Good, and straightening that front leg now. Planting both feet nice and strongly down to the ground. And squeezing on both thighs. We're going to come into Trikonasana. So I'm going to give you a version here if you're a little bit less open in the legs. So planting those feet down, arms come out to the sides. If you're quite tight, all you're going to do is send your hips back to the back foot, and you're going to hold it here. Okay, and that's for some of you will already be a nice stretch through that front leg. If you can take it a little bit more, send those hips back. Right hand's going to drop down to the inside of the right leg and left hand up to the sky. And we're looking to get a nice straight line here. So I'll show you from the side. So when you're coming in, your bottom shouldn't be stuck out behind you. It's tucked in underneath. So we're finding as if we're stuck in between 2 sheets of glass here. Good, and if there's any pressure at all in that front knee, just take a slight bend into it. Awesome. Shining that hand up in front of you. 1 more big breath. As you exhale, bring the hands down to the ground, either coming back into your downward facing dog or just onto your hands and knees. Good, take a big breath in here. As you exhale, open the mouth. And we're going to draw the left leg forwards this time. So the left leg comes in between the hands. And again, we're holding here in this nice deep lunge to start with, either keeping the back leg lifted or just dropping that back knee down to the ground. But wherever you are, chest is shining forward, so draw the shoulders down the back. Good, and lengthen through that right hip. Awesome, guys. Good, and Anna Marie, see if you can draw those shoulders even more down onto your back, so open the chest forwards. That's it. Good, 1 more breath in. As you exhale, slowly start to straighten that front left leg and lift up nice and high up onto the back heel. Good, so have a little check-in again, make sure these hips are square. So Nicholas, draw your right hip slightly further forwards and left hip back, so you're squaring those hips off to the front. Good, and if that's quite difficult for any of you to do with the squaring the hips, step the back foot in a little bit closer. That just makes it a little bit easier to square the hips off. Press the whole of that front foot down into the ground, so you should be getting nice and long through that hamstring. Good, and keep that breath flowing. 1 more long breath in. Good, nice big bend into that front knee again. Drop the back heel down and find warrior 2 as you breathe in. A nice big windmill of those arms. Good, and drop the hips nice and low. So hips square to the side wall, but nice and low. So we're looking to try and get a right angle with this front leg if we can. Good, and draw the belly in so grow a little bit taller. And coming into your side angle. So again, option here just to drop the left elbow down to the knee. And right hand's going to come overhead. Gaze comes up to the ceiling. Good, so you can choose to stay here. If you've got a little bit more, just dropping that hand, the left hand down to the inside of the foot or onto a block. And then shining that chest up to the sky. Good, wherever you are, draw those shoulders down your back. As you exhale, we're lowering that top arm down to the ground, drawing a big circle. As you breathe in, to circle up to the sky. Good, 2 more big circles with that arm. Each time trying to roll that chest a little bit higher up to the sky. Good, 1 more breath here. And back to your warrior 2. Awesome. And straightening off that front leg again now, so left leg nice and straight. We're going to come into that Trikonasana pose. So again, if you're a little bit stiffer, you're just going to stop at the first stage. So we're sending those hips as far as we can back behind us. And you're either going to hold here, or the left hand's going to lower to the inside of that left leg, and right hand up to the sky. Good, and if you're hyperextended or if there's any pressure in the back of the knee, just a little bend into that knee, just to keep you nice and straight here. Good. And see if you can lengthen the underside of your body. So you're trying to press those hips as far back away from you as you can, so that this left side of the body is nice and straight and square. Good. Good, and Anna Maria, if that's hurting the back of your knee, as I said, just a slight bend there. 1 more breath in. As you exhale, bring those hands down to the mat and drop down onto your knees. Awesome. Cool, so we're going to come into our Hanuman pose now. So this is kind of one of the key ones for these hamstrings, a really good one to stretch them out. So staying up high on your knees, we're just going to take the right leg forwards in front of you and straighten that leg. So you want to keep the hips over that back knee, flex the toes so they're coming up towards you on that front foot. And then before we go anywhere, we're tilting the pelvis. We're sending the bottom back as far as we can to then lower the chest. If you can't touch the floor, just have those blocks handy again underneath the hands. But we're looking to get this front leg nice and straight, back nice and straight if we can. Good, so nice big stretch through that front leg. If that's not quite enough for you, there's an option here as well to come into the full pose, just by sliding those legs away from each other, keeping the shoulders over the hips to come into your full Hanuman. Good, but wherever you are, keep lengthening that pelvis back behind you, so sticking your bottoms out and lengthening that chest. 1 more big breath. Good, and then gently releasing. And let's move to the other side. So left leg comes forwards. Again, stacking the hips over the knees. Flex the toes up towards you. Send the bottom back. So really stick your bottom back behind you. And then take the chest down to the floor. And that's just going to really lengthen that hamstring a little bit more. Awesome, guys. Good, and either staying here or option to come into the full pose if you need a little more, just by dropping those legs a little bit further. Good. Last big breath. And then gently releasing. Good. We're going to come into a nice straddle sit now, so finding your way onto your bottom. Take those legs nice and wide and flex the toes up towards you. So these little muscles on the insides of our thighs, these adductors, are also quite tight when we do a lot of running or when we tighten the hamstrings. So we're going to work on these a little bit now. So sliding the hands as wide as you can, then draw them out in front of you. We're going to slowly walk the fingers forwards to take the chest down in between those legs. And we're just going to start to pause whenever we feel a little bit of tension, that little bit of stretch. So depending where you're tight, you'll either be feeling it in your lower back or on the insides of these legs. And it's okay if you're quite high, don't worry. It's all good. It's all about finding where you need that stretch. Wherever you are, just let the shoulders hang, let the shoulders roll. And keep that breath flowing. So that breath, that flow of breath, it's just going to help to soften you that little bit deeper here. Good. Awesome, and then gently sitting yourself back up again. Good. We're going to come back onto our backs and we're going to need the straps for this one if you do have them. If you don't, that's okay. I'm going to give you another version. We're going to come into one of my favourite hamstring stretches, which is called a hamstring hammock. So we're going to lie down onto our back. Make sure you've got a nice big loop in your strap. We're just going to hook the strap over the arch of that right foot. And then you're going to lift up your head and tuck the back of your head into the other side of the loop. Good. If you're quite tight and that's not possible for you to reach, you're just going to hold it with your hands. So it's quite similar to where we started off at the top today. Good. And Nicholas, yeah, just use your hands as well here. But if you have got that loop, we're just going to start to use the weight of our head here just to let that hamstring open. So we're not using any force at all, just gravity with the weight of our head. And hopefully you should feel a little bit more space than when we started the start of the class. Into the back of that leg, a little bit more depth. Take one more breath. Open your mouth. Gently releasing that right side. We're going to move into the other leg, into the left side, just to see how much more space we've got now after working through those stretches. So nice big loop. And again, tucking the rope just on the center arch of the foot, and then gently hooking the back of the loop on the head. And you want the head floating. So you want the hoop short enough that the head is just lifted off the earth. Just close the eyes down here, just let it feel good. Good, so I've got the strap in the middle of the back of my head, so just be careful you're not putting any pressure on the neck if it's too low down. Awesome, last big breath. And then gently release. Great, and we're going to come into a half pigeon stretch on our backs now, just to release a little bit more into these hips. So keeping the soles of the feet down on the ground, we're just going to cross the right leg over, so make a nice big figure four with the feet, and flex that right foot on nice and strongly. Okay, so you want a really nice flexed foot. Lift that bottom leg off, so the legs come towards you, and then your right hand's going to go through the diamond shape in between your legs, and you're going to grab hold of the back of the left thigh. Good, and then softening the shoulders down to the earth, gently draw that left thigh in towards you. And you should start to feel a nice opening through that right hip. Good, and there should be no pain in the knees here. So just make sure that that front foot, that right foot's really flexing on strong. That should get rid of any niggles in the knee. Last breath in. And then gently release. We'll move to the other side. So dropping the feet back to the floor, making that nice big figure four, so left foot comes all the way over, and flex the left foot on, lift the legs up towards you, left hand goes in between the legs, so in that diamond shape, grab hold of the back of the right thigh, and then gently draw it in towards you. Good, and keep that breath nice and steady. Good, couple more moments here. Good, and then gently releasing. Awesome, and we're going to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, so soles of the feet are going to come together, and let the knees hang nice and wide. Good, and either just letting the belly, hands come down to the belly, or if you have got a block or anything nearby and you want a little bit more of a chest stretch, you can just pop that block underneath the upper back and just let yourself get nice and heavy over the top. So there's a couple of options here just to bring the stretch into different places. Can feel nice as well if you're stiff through the front of the shoulders, just to let the arms come out to the sides. Let the head hang. Good, and we're going to be holding here just for a couple more breaths. Awesome. And either staying in your Supta Baddha Konasana or finding yourself in your Shavasana. This is where I'm going to leave you guys to rest, so thank you so much for joining me. And Lisa will be back with you next week. Have a great week and a great Easter. Namaste.